Hello, listeners of Searanox the Feared. This is the reader, if you haven't guessed, and I'm going to be, talking a little bit about the reading because the boss man asked me to do a little bit about the reading. Who am I? Just someone who enjoys, My Little Pony. Who doesn't? Great show, nothing wrong with it. And I answered his audition call, and one thing led to another. I really didn't think my voice was good enough, because I hate my voice, but he likes it for some reason, so, I'm never going to argue with that. Not really too much to say. I've written down a few thoughts, so let's get right into it. Firstly, I will be sort of drawing my own idea of what Searanox looks like, because, I do like to draw. Don't let that fool you. I'm not that chicken scratch bad. Oh, look, it's Searanox. Yeah, that's Searanox the Feared. Okay, I'm not that bad. I'm not stepping on the boss man's toes because I know he does some very good concept art as well. He does very good concept art as well as his girlfriend, so I'm not infringing on Mr. Boss or Mrs. Boss's, Miss Boss's territory here as concept art. Moving on. For me, who is Searanox the Feared? Well, he's the embodiment of the writer's ego, which it's actually interesting if you do understand it, because you can see over time how the ego has been changed here and there. I would like to say this book is very clever because it sort of illustrates a gender conflict resolved. Normally with most stories you have side characters or you have supporting characters, and readers, male and female, tend to empathize with their gender equivalent because, that's just how it works. And that can be quite an interesting tool most modern writers use. But what made this book, I think, very clever is that it managed to break the gender divide because you have two main characters, both male and female, and each one sort of surviving in their own respective niche, while one, the female, Azara, the dragon of the blue sky, was a very free-spirited sort of, I wouldn't say a stereotype, but in a sense like, I am supposed to be here in my niche and I want to be somewhere else because I am tired of it. I mean, it's been done to death, frankly, but I really liked the way it was done here because it's not up to fate, it's not up to some arbitrary twist, it really is. She has her own power, she is the one who shapes her, what's the word I'm looking for? Her path in the story, which, is nice. There are times when she is, being made inferior to Searanox, but I mean, if you think about it, honestly speaking, Searanox is a superior creature, and it's not like an unbalanced thing. It's not like she is completely inferior to him. I mean, she does have quite a little bite herself. Getting a bit of lag here. Yeah, I'm also not used to Photoshop, so you'll have to forgive me. But I wanted to get on that. As you know, TheWriter, William A. Lanham, did mention at one point that he liked my reading, so yay! Maybe I can do more. Let's call this my audition blog. So if you've got an audiobook that wants reading, just contact... No. It was actually quite agonizing at times because I got sick in the middle of it. I get sick quite a lot. I'm susceptible to every cold and virus on the planet. It's amazing I've survived this far. Sorry. And I'm sick again. Haha. So I mean, to me, it was not an easy thing. I've never done an audiobook reading in my life. So when I was, chosen, I just thought, okay, what have I done? I did buy a microphone. I did buy a microphone to do it. And I think it was a lot better because before I was just sitting in my bathroom because it's the quietest place. And I got really tired of all the background noise. So I bought a microphone. Didn't cost much. Didn't even make a huge dent in the final pay, which was nice. I'll admit, sometimes I did use the final payment to motivate me, because it did get quite tiring. I remember as I was doing the story, there was this one moment I saw these little rabbit folk, and then I thought, oh, there's a lot of voices around here. Let me just change the pitch on the rabbit people, make them a little bit, like higher voice, squeaky sounding, just a little bit of humor, since in the story they were mainly used as humor anyway. And then this was not like in the beginning, and then I said, hold on, wait, before you publish this chapter, can I make these adjustments? Oh yeah, that's fine. And then I came across the later chapters where we have entire segments where there's nothing but rabbit people voices. Before anyone else, I don't know why I made them Scottish. It just worked from the way it read to me. They sounded Scottish, which, can't fault it. I like Scottish people. They're honest and funny. Not in like a ha-ha, laugh at them sense, but they are genuinely very humorful people. What else can I go on about while I'm trying to piece together my idea of what Searanox looks like? As I say, it's very rough. I'm not being paid to do this. This is just like a little bit of fun for me. And I'm not one who draws too much, and this is now my Photoshop. I do want to be a comic book artist, concept artist one day, but I've got a long way to go, as most of you can see. Let me cross out my different location. I've said a few things. Yes, the time limit wasn't fun because I got sick. You can probably hear in, I think it was around chapters 4 or 5, I had a bit of a cold and I got really tired. The bunny voices got on my nerves. There was one thing, I was listening to the commentary for Mr. Lanham, the boss, that I thought was, he said, I never gave him guff and I never laughed at his stories. He never laughed at it. Actually, I did laugh at one point. Now, I'm not laughing at the story or the construct, but it was right in the beginning where Searanox does sort of like, it's really implied he's going to rape Azara. Read the story if you don't want to talk about. Like, it really looks fun. I actually stopped reading and I laughed. I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to read a dragon rape scene as my first audiobook. This dragon is going to get completely molested and violated, and I'm going to have to maintain a serious voice. And I hope to God my friends don't actually hear this, because they'll know it's me. They'll know it's me, and they'll laugh, and they'll drive into oblivion. So, I mean, I did laugh quite a bit. But then something happened, and I wish I had recorded my first reaction, because as I was reading that scene, because most of it I just read straight, I didn't have time to read the book, once and then go over, I just read straight. And there was this one defining moment to me of what Searanox was, who his character was, that was, honestly, I find it just inspiring that a just this independent book that hasn't been published or greatly acknowledged could, knock my socks off like that and really make my jaw drop, is when Searanox really sets her up to believe she's about to get, severely done in, severely molested, whatever you want to call it, and then he doesn't. And to me that was the defining moment of who Searanox was. Everything he did later on was just deeper into the mystery, but that first action was exactly defining who he is as a character, and I thought it was brilliant. I loved that little twist. It kept it going. Because for me, that is now showing the writer has applied some intelligence, which is what you don't see very often in most stories. Even today, even the big names, I'm not saying Anyway, that's a very rough idea what I think Searanox looks like. I know he's red, so I'm going to color him red. I like red. Yes, I'm sorry, I do voices just for fun. There really is no other reason. But anyway, so that was to me, the defining moment of his character, and I thought it was very intelligently done. This might not work. I found the whole story, the construction of the characters to me was the most strikingly bizarre thing I have ever heard of. Because I just read at one point that they have manes, and I remember reading it over and over and over thinking, hold on, hang on a minute. Dragons having hair, doesn't that seem like I don't know, like a bad idea? But I mean, why not? It's a different dynamic. I don't read many, like books that are from dragons' perspective, so it was refreshing to see something like that. And most of the time, if you do find books like that, they are heavily based on sex. So, it was a very good idea, if the boss man is hearing this, not to include sex. And I hope if he does make any sequels, he does consider to avoid it. You hear? Avoid it. Because it is just a stroke of brilliance not to do it. Not to fall into that boring conventional norms like, oh, it's about dragons, let's have them with each other, lots of sex, yay! Stupid. I don't know, for me that just puts me off a book in a second. It doesn't even, I don't give second chances. I'm a very horrid person when it comes to reading. If I don't like it, then I'm not going to read it. Oh yeah, I might rant here and there as I'm just lightly coloring this in. As I say, it's such a rough. I did a few rough sketches in my little book because, it's fun. And as I say, this is the gratis version. I have to be quick. This to me is what Searanox looks like. He's got a nice crown of horns and all that, which again was a very cool idea. I enjoyed that thought very much. Searanox does really strike me at some points a lot like Draco from... You guys all know Draco by now. I'm not even going to insult the movie by telling you, you know look up Draco the Dragon if you don't know, because you are missing out on a treat. Dragonheart the movie. Don't watch Dragonheart 2. Sorry. But anyway, so I mean, great story, and I did like it. I guess most of all, I'm sort of going to be... I did like, if I'm to think of memorable moments, it was definitely the game room, when Searanox is showing Azara's board, and he's showing his little cloud snapper, something to do, not to be bored. And yes, I'm sure many people would imagine sex would play into it, but he didn't. And again, that speaks volumes about Searanox's character. It makes me instantly respect who he is. That's just the thing, is that's so hard to do because I couldn't figure him out. And that's a nice little twist on a character, in my opinion. No, it's a path tool. So I'm not very adept at using this. And for me, I think the game room scene was very clever, mostly because I wish I had one so badly. Well, I know it's terrible, but I'm experiencing lag. Searanox the Feared. Sorry. I'm sorry. I have to. I did find Searanox to be a little bit overpowered most of the time, But when the writer introduced Axemis, I thought that was actually a very nice little balancing trick. Why? Because frankly, when that was done, it tipped the scale. Searanox was no longer the, brutish badass that he was. He was just simply a dragon, and he wasn't any better than any other dragon around. Just that, he hadn't received any, real challenges until then, because he butchered a whole bunch of gold dragons, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, spoiler alert! Too bad. Too bad. But anyway, he butchered a whole bunch of gold dragons at one point, and that was, I guess gold dragons aren't really much against something like Searanox. I'll say one thing that I did find a little bit difficult to grasp at times is their humanoid traits. Sometimes you had them swimming, you had them running, you had them galloping, you had them standing up, you had them, making shadow puppets with their hands, paws, claws. It got a little bit confusing at some points, but it's not anything severe. You just don't care. Let me draw Azara now. I think I've already talked a lot about the main things. To me, there are only 3 characters really. There was Searanox, Azara, and the Architect. I'm not going to draw the Architect because, it's just like a suit of armor. There's so many variations I could do on that. I don't even want to get started. The singing thing, I really sort of wish he would, If you're hearing this, boss man, I really hope that he takes that off and he puts his girlfriend's voice back on, or he puts his girlfriend's voice on as a singer. I wasn't trying to step on her toes. I just figured if he was gonna, take me off, might as well have a little bit of fun with it, because I don't know, I sort of sound like a complete dork when I'm singing like this. Dork, look it up, I'm old. But, I don't know, I really liked Azara. And I think I related a lot more to her than I did to Searanox, as strangely as it sounds. There's nothing to do with gender, it's just her personality was very interesting. She didn't want any guff, she didn't want any responsibility. She literally just wanted to live her life as was meant to be, because where she was living wasn't really living. That was just like this small version where she is more of a commodity than a living creature, which is not such a far-fetched concept. It happens in modern society all the time, which made it clever, sort of like in an ironic sense, the so-called civilized people were more primitive than the primitive. I thought that was quite a brilliant little twist on the whole character as a concept. As I said, this is very rough. And I am sorry, but I'm not getting paid for it. Also, I've never used Photoshop until this day, so yay! What else could I say? I really liked her character, to me, because she really was, no, don't give me any crap. It's like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. If you start talking diplomats, you start talking diplomacy and all this, I'll just claw your little eyes out. Which was interesting that she wasn't as dangerous or as powerful as Searanox, but at the same time, it's like you would not want to fight her. She's got that sort of like, I don't know, where I'm from, we have a little joke where you don't piss off your wife, because she might not be as strong as you, but she'll scratch you to death. She'll scratch your eyes out. So, by the way, that is a perfectly legitimate sort of weapon to have. And, it was very, very clever how, although she wasn't as powerful as Searanox, like physically as powerful, she wasn't exactly a pushover either. the fact that she was, willing to spread for him, I guess would be more onto her character of just like, I don't know, to me that was more of an action of wanting to spite her, what is the word, forcibly betrothed. Yeah, no, she's not too feminine in this picture, so we are going to take a line away. I don't know, I enjoyed the story overall, I have to say. I think I mentioned that. Right now I'm just going to scribble this in. And basic comments. The architect was a very interesting character. I really enjoyed doing her because of the multiple voices. I did not see the betrayal thing. I know there's some people like, oh, how can you not see that? I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't because it really made it fun. I really did, enjoy it. And let's see, Azara of the blue sky, so hint she's blue. I don't know, I really enjoyed sort of like how the architect won Searanox's good graces, made him weaker, was, utterly stupid in not killing him when she had the chance. It's a typical vanity of the villain concept, which again is very intelligent. I did enjoy that sort of face slap. Yes, she's blue. Glowing in blue. Sorry, I'm an artist. An artist never gets stuff. I guess there's not really much else to say. The ending I thought was a bit rushed. It really could have been, something else, like series of traps being sprung. Or, I don't know. I really found the ending lacked. Sorry to say, it just was so abrupt and everything. But I mean, I guess it was quite a long story. I mean, already like clocking, I think, 8+ hours just in reading. It did require a finish, and maybe I'm just complaining because I just didn't want the story to end. I liked it that much. Yes, and this is her horn. As I'm no expert, I don't claim to be, and I'm just doing this really quick because, I can. And while I scribble in her belly, maybe a darker color, I guess I'll conclude. I mean, I enjoyed reading it, I enjoyed talking about it, I enjoyed everything. I would like to do any more books, because frankly I could use the money, number one, to spend on my own hobby, Photoshop, and other such things. Not really sure what else there is. If there is a sequel, it would be cool, but I don't know. For me, I don't think a sequel is in order. It ends where it ends. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the rabbit people, the conflict, that whole balance of power issue. It got a little silly towards the end, where you got Searanox fighting with all the little rabbit folk in the village, and then Xemis, and then they're ripping the whole place apart. And I mean, that just was like, dude, relax. Don't have to go all psychotic. But I mean, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. Bam, Searanox. Oh, I forgot to scribble in for Azara. So far, I have to say I'm liking Photoshop. And now Searanox is going blurry. So to me, this is sort of like a rough idea of what Searanox is. Man, this is some rough chicken scratch. But it's quick chicken scratch, and that's the point. As you'll notice, my thoughts are completely all over the place. Because I'm an artist, and I'm sick, and I'm just doing this because I will never get another chance right now. Final comments about Searanox. Searanox and Azara were actually quite similar because none of them had to prove who they were as a character, and I thought that was very impressive. You know, Searanox basically didn't define himself on exterior perspective, and Azara, she just didn't care. That's it. Azara did not care what anyone thought. She was her own woman, her own dragon, and all that stuff. And I thought that was a nice concept. It really sort of resolved the gender divide for me. That's it, really. I enjoyed it very much. I would like to do it again. Maybe one day I can. So, boss man, if you hear this, I'm willing. I am willing to do more readings of audiobooks for your money. I need lots of shiny coins to sleep on too. But anyway. I guess I'll just conclude there because frankly I don't think there's anything else I can say. Thank you very much for reading this story. It's a shame it's not doing, as well as it should in my opinion, because frankly with all the pretentious literature out there, this one is not making any assumption. It's not pretending to be better than it is. It is a good story, and that's just what it is, a good story. Very enjoyable. I'll conclude. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry my thoughts have been all random, but a bit sick. So, if you haven't read Searanox the Feared, read it before he eats you up, girl. No, read it. I mean, listen to it. It's an audiobook. It's available on the YouTube channel TheWriter. Not so important about me. If you want to, commission me or any of that crap, just do it through Monsieur William A. Lanham, and he can handle it if you want to do anything like that, because frankly I am a tired person. I work a lot now and I do not have time anymore to handle social networking like everybody else. And I guess I'll just conclude that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this has been at least mildly entertaining. I'm sorry my chicken scratch is not up to, superior standards, but I wasn't using fast forward or anything. This is just me in a quick few minutes, I hope. But hope you enjoyed at least watching the chicken scratch, a little bit about Searanox the Feared. I hope you laugh a lot while I try to do Searanox's serious voice. And if, as I say, if you haven't got the chance to listen to the story, just try it, because, I primarily did this for the money, but I ended up enjoying the story as well. So much so that I would do it again. Not for free, but, have to say that. Take care, guys. All the best. And happy, I don't know, is it reading? Happy reading, happy audiobook listening.